We've come to that time of the evening when there's not much time left. And we'd appreciate it if you could kind of try to be quiet, because it's that kind of tune, you know. Almost blue, almost doing things we used to do. There's a girl here and she's almost you.
Bruce Weber, perché uno dei più grandi fotografi del mondo decide di fare un film su Chet Baker.
He was like this wild child. That was part of his beauty. He was very. He could see things in a almost like a kid. He kind of opened his arms to his music, and his work was really important to him. I remember seeing him. Sit on his bed, like in hotel rooms when we'd be around at different places, and you'd hear those notes coming out of the trumpet, and he'd have these sandals on, and his toes would be moving up and down, and he was very childlike.
Cominceranno sicuramente le solite diatribe, forse sono già cominciate tra i critici. Qualcuno dirà che manca il Chet Baker musicista, qualcun altro dirà che hai visto Chet Baker più come cantante che come solista di tromba. Chi hai cercato tu in Chet Baker, l'uomo o il musicista?
I wanted to tell about the man who was the artist. We really loved Chet and we really believed a lot in his music, and I felt that to not make an honest film about him would have been a huge disservice to him and to our feelings about him. So that's how we sort of ended up, and people always come up to you and they say, hey, I don't like your film, it's not enough about music, or it's too much about music, We have about 48 songs in the film, and Chet did this extensive library of music. He did over 100 and some albums. He played in gigs until he died, and I think he was a pretty productive person for somebody who had a lot of personal problems in their life. It was a wild experience, experience I probably, really won't be able to ever have again, and when the film got nominated for an Academy Award, the whole crew, we all went out to Los Angeles, and it was kind of a great moment, but a moment where we really wish Chet had been there, We thought, what would it be like being at the Academy Awards with Chet Baker, and then we all started laughing because we thought I probably wouldn't even show up.
Lately, you've been so forgetful.
Uno dei momenti più toccanti, più emozionanti del film è l'intervista che c'è verso la fine del film con i suoi figli, alcuni dei suoi figli. Questa intervista finisce con i figli che si allontanano e invocano Chet, gli dicono fatti vivo, vogliamo sentirti. Si è mai fatto vivo dopo quel giorno Chet e i suoi figli?
Shortly after that, I was at this lake that I spent a lot of the summer, and I got a call about 3 in the afternoon from Chet. He had gotten busted in Santa Cruz, California, and he was in jail. He got out of jail. He bought a motorcycle jacket. He didn't get a helmet. In America, you have to have a helmet to drive a motorcycle. He didn't have a license. He had $200 in his pocket, and he drove his motorcycle from Santa Cruz, California to Stillwater, Oklahoma. Believe me, it's pretty far away. And he arrived there and he knocked on the door. And his kids hadn't seen him in a long, long time. And I said to them, "What'd you say?" And they said, we said, "Welcome home, Dad, you know, it's great to see you, you're looking really great." And they put his arms around him, and I think that they really felt a lot of love and hurt at the same time for him, you know. They wanted to be part of this sort of wild life on the road, and yet I think that they really were kind of angry inside, you know, that he hadn't been there for so many important things in their life, you know.
Hello. Adriano!
Hai avuto mai la sensazione che Chet Baker attraverso la droga cercasse la morte? E perché secondo te la musica per lui non è stata in grado di rappresentare la redenzione come persona?
I really think that by the end of the film I really believe that Chet didn't need to be high to do the kind of music that he did. I think he needed to be high to have some kind of protective wall around himself, you know. Remember, he was this sort of frail guy. He wanted to be a little bit tougher, you know. He was really a cowboy, you know. He was from Oklahoma when he was like a little kid before he went to California. And I think that he was much more sensitive than a lot of people made him out to be. One thing I think is really important is that Chet never really ever encouraged anybody else to do drugs. He would have really looked down on anybody who was working on the film as if they were getting high with him. I don't think he would have showed up a second day if that was the case. You know, we used to say to him, Chet, you know, you must think we're pretty square, and he'd say, "Oh no, man, not at all."
Che cosa avrebbe detto Chet Baker se avesse avuto la possibilità di vedere il suo film che tu gli hai dedicato?
You never know, you know, I mean, probably one day he'd probably really love it, you know, the next day he'd hate it, the next day he'd love it again, you know. It's funny, you know, when you do interviews about your film, and people ask you all these questions, you know, I sometimes think, you know, how Chet would have answered them, or what he would have said if he was here with us now, you know. And I think he would have taken like a really long pause and he would have said, well, man, this is really serious, you know what I mean? Because it's, I think there's like a sort of a beauty about the improvisational quality that happens with jazz musicians. And I tried to show that in the film a little bit. And I think that, you know, I think Chet would have liked that part of it a lot, you know.
And I was playing every night someplace. There was a session in L.A. and I met Dexter and Pony Dexter and Wardell Gray, Frank Morgan, who has just been playing in New York recently, and Hampton Hawes and Shelley Mann and Shorty Rogers and Jack Sheldon and the Condoli brothers, Frank Rossellino and Pete Christlieb and Bill Holbrook and Jack Montrose, all those West Coast cats. There's no love song finer, but how strange the change from major to minor every time we say goodbye.
Qualcuno ha voluto creare un mistero sulla morte di Chet Baker. Secondo te è una morte misteriosa?
We were in the editing room when we heard about Chet, and it was a strange feeling after seeing him on the screen, so large and so much a part of our life, to know that he wasn't around. Chet really loved living. You know, I don't think he would have done anything to himself. Yeah, there's a big mystery about his death. You know, the window doesn't really open wide enough for him to really fall out. So something probably happened in relation to drugs, but I do think that he didn't do it to himself. You know, he didn't commit suicide. He couldn't. You know, if he was going to do it, he would have taken a brand new motorcycle. He would have gotten really tan. He would have combed his hair, and he would have just maybe driven off a cliff somewhere. You know, but I don't think he would have fallen out of the window if he was going to do it to himself.
Almost blue, almost doing things we used to do.
It was sort of like having a friend, you know, who you might not see in 2 or 3 years, but you knew you'd sort of bump into them at some club somewhere. Yeah. Sometimes I think I'm still going to get a phone call, like about 2, 3 in the morning. And it's going to say, hey, Bruce, you know, how you doing? I go, Chet, you know, where have you been, you know? I can't really believe that he's not here anymore. And the night at the Academy Awards, when we were sitting there, it was really the first time emotionally that I realized that he wasn't there anymore, because Nan Bush, the producer, was on my left, and on my right, instead of Chet, was Tom Cruise and his wife. And I thought Chet should have been on my right. And I think that's when I missed him a lot, you know, and really realized that he wasn't here.
When you're near, there's such an air of spring about it. I can hear a lark somewhere begin to sing about it. There's no love song finer, but how strange the change from major to minor every time we say goodbye.